Hey, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining in. I'm Althea, and this is Spiritual Street Talk with Althea Jacob. And I could not be more delighted that you are tuning in to the show. And whether you are live on our streams or you're able to make comments and ask questions on this live show, or whether you're listening to it after the fact, I'm so grateful that you're choosing to tune in and listen to some of our conversations and some of the things that we wanted to share. So Spiritual Street Talk was meant to be a way to demystify the spiritual stuff and bring things down to earth, answer whatever questions y'all have, and cover the topics that are near and dear to your heart each week. So that's what I try to do. So the way that the time typically flows, and I say typically because sometimes something will pop up on the chat and that'll kind of take me in a different direction. But what I usually do is I start with a little bit of what's on my mind and heart, how the week's been, because boy, oh boy, it seems like it was just yesterday, it was Thursday, and here we are again. I was like, yay, I get to do the show. So really happy about that. So after we talk a little bit about what's going on, I've asked Spirit for some messages for us as a group, and I've chosen some angel cards and oracle cards and tarot cards, so I'll go through those, and then we'll open up the floor, so to speak, and I'll check the chat for any questions. So if you are here live, please do, if you have a question or a comment that you want to share with everybody, or if you have a topic that you want me to focus on in some respect tonight, please put that in the chat in all caps, because then it'll stand out and be a lot easier for us. And as always, I want to start the show by expressing our gratitude and love to Grizzly and Mary. They are the heart and soul of this whole Bigfoot family. And if it wasn't for them doing all the things they do behind the scenes, we wouldn't have we host wouldn't have the ability to be out here talking and sharing and answering questions and having these wonderful interactions with y'all. So let's all please take a moment and send some good mojo and gratitude and wonderful expressions of thanks to them. And one of the ways that you can show your thanks is to do all those nice social media things, right? Click on the subscribe, ring the bell, share, like, follow, spread the word, do all that kind of good stuff, because that really helps them on the back end with getting more exposure and being able to get into more platforms and all that kind of good stuff. So please do that. If you like the show, please come back each week and do share the word. Okay, so that's how I wanted to start. So this week, oh my gosh. So last week, y'all, we were talking and I was sharing what was going on with my hand. Well, I think it's kind of at bay right now. So I have some function in it, but I'm not a lot of strength yet. I'm still on the medication and have another week of that. So I wouldn't mind if y'all would just send some good prayers and good mojo my way to help heal up whatever's going on here that's creating the issue. And besides that, I'm also a tenacious person. So despite having my dominant hand being a bit wonky, I said, well, you know what? I'm doing a tag sale with a friend of mine in the next town. So I needed to go clean out places and fill up bins and bags and boxes with stuff that I was ready to let go. And let me tell you, if you haven't cleaned out your house in a while, if you haven't had a tag sale or moved or done something where you get a chance to really clean things out, it's very cathartic. It's very healing. It feels so good to let go of old stuff, especially when you know it's going to find a new home of somebody who is going to love it and appreciate it, especially because they're getting it for 10 cents on the dollar and they're getting great bargains. And, you get to watch that joyful interaction when they find that treasure, that's a treasure to them that you're letting go of. So that was very healing. Today was actually the first day of the 2-day tag sale. And it was really fun. It was really interesting. I was not prepared enough. I didn't realize how you have to have every little thing marked and labeled, because people expect that. Well, I haven't had a tag sale before. And a funny thing happened on my way to the tag sale. I put in my friend's address as she had given it to me. I had not been to her house before. She's a friend from church. And I wound up pulling up to this place and it's like the garage isn't open. There's nothing there. And I'm like, what the heck? And so I look up, and her exact same address is in the next town, and it's all considered the same area of Green Bay, but just with different distinctions, like Ashwaubenon is a subset of Green Bay, right? And that sort of thing. So anyway, I get to this other person's house, clearly not the right place for the tag sale. So I had this little adventure on the way, but it made me think about how many assumptions do we make? Because I made the assumption I had the right address. I didn't think to check with her, like, oh, there's 2 listed here. I thought I knew better. And it's like, how many times does that, is it confidence or is it arrogance, right? Where we're like, oh, yeah, no, I know. And then we wind up, 10 miles away from the place we think we're going, metaphorically as well as literally. And so one of the things that is really, I think, important is to keep a sense of humility and openness. And I should know better, right? After all these years of working with spirit and listening to spirit and whatnot, I should have listened more to the prompting of, are you sure this is the right address? And I was like, so sure, because of what she had told me. I'm like, yeah, no, I know, this is it. It wasn't. So, that sometimes being a little cocky can really bite you in the butt. So I think it's important. And obviously there was no big consequence this time, other than I got there maybe 15 minutes later than I would have. So I was a little behind in setting up. And, that's was a small price to pay for the reminder to listen to spirit and spirit's promptings. And when you get that little voice that says, maybe you should double check. Yeah, let's double check. Yeah. Okay. So other than that, this week, been just aware of, kind of aware of how a lot of the media wants us to be in a state of fear and panic. I don't watch very much news, but I have friends that live all along the coast. And so when I had heard that there was a hurricane brewing in the Atlantic, I was like, well, I better at least watch the Weather Channel and check in the local news a little bit to see what's going on. Well, you would think it's Armageddon sometimes by the way they hype up what's going on. And I understand that's their business. And the more they hype it, the more you're probably going to tune in to watch. But it also made me think of, okay, can we hype up the spirituality in our life? Can we hype up the positive parts of our life? Can we not get sucked into the drama and trauma of the stuff that's happening there? And you're going to laugh when you see the cards that I picked, because, obviously I don't deep read them, and I don't, I shuffle, I ask, and I read it. But one of the cards here, you're just going to laugh when you see it. Trust me, you will. Okay. So and by the way, if you are listening live, obviously you can add to the chat, you can ask questions, whatnot. If you are tuned in after the fact, these messages from spirit should still apply to you, because it is my understanding and deal with spirit that whenever somebody is tuning in, whether it's live tonight, whether it's tomorrow during your lunch break, whether it's a month from now or a year from now, whenever you find this particular episode, the messages that come from spirit should resonate with you. They should make sense to your head, your intellect. They should warm your heart. They should make sense and ring true in your gut, right? They should be like, oh yeah, that was a good message for me to hear right now, right? So be open to hear that. Don't say, oh, I'm going to fast forward through this because I wasn't there and that message was for those people. It's for you too, for whenever you've tuned in. Okay. So the first card that we got here is the card of celebration. And celebration says that it is time for you to look for the joy, the delight, and the wonder of every day and rejoice in it. Okay, so isn't that what we were just mentioning? Don't get sucked into the drama and trauma of, oh my God, there's a hurricane out in the ocean making really bad waves and riptides, and feeling like, okay, well, unless you're swimming in those waters or wanting to go into those waters on the East Coast, it really shouldn't be something impacting you very strongly. You should be able to have that sense of celebration and focus on the good things and what's working. Okay, so now we can all laugh. What's the card that Spirit sends next? The ocean, right? I'm thinking about the ocean. I'm thinking about the hurricane, and what comes up here? The ocean. The deep blue sea speaks to your soul, healing and soothing you. Even the act of imagining yourself being in the healing waters brings about desirable effects. Okay, so instead of imagining what the weather report is telling us of these 20-foot waves and all this turmoil and all the storm, why don't we imagine a beautiful blue Caribbean Sea type of ocean with gentle waves, all kinds of wonderful fish swimming around, so clear that you can see the rocks and your toes on the bottom or the sand at the bottom, and just be immersed in that amazing the warmth, hearing the waves gently crashing in, but just hearing those sounds and maybe smelling that salt water and just feeling that healing. Part of the reason we're so drawn to oceans is because we are so much, we are very similar in our biochemistry as far as the amount of water and salt that's in our own body and in our bloodstream, right? And what we're made up is a lot of water as well. And I remember hearing once, and I don't know 100% if it's true, but it kind of amused me to think it might be true. And I thought, well, that would be really cool if it was, that the percentage of the oceans on the planet Earth compared to the land is the same proportion of our fluids to our solids in our bodies on the average human body. And I thought, wow, wouldn't that be kind of cool to have that sort of balance and that synchronicity between, and that similarities between. And that's part of the reason why a lot of us are just drawn to the waters and the beaches. When we want to go on vacation, we want to go to a place and it just kind of makes us feel relaxed and calm and joyful. It just is so healing. The winds, and the spray just kind of clear out our auras with and the ionic field around us. And it's a beautiful thing. Anyway, so we got the ocean card tonight. And then the last card that came up for the oracle cards was the card of introspection. And introspection says, take this time to look more deeply inside yourself and at the issues in your life. Become still and direct your thoughts to the problems that confront you. So that's all, that part of what, was coming up. Right. Then I asked and introspection, it's important, right? Like I said in the beginning, I was like, do we pay attention to those messages? Do we pay attention, when spirit prompts us? Do I need to be a little better at that? Self-awareness and introspection are so underrated in most people's lives. But I think if you're a spiritually oriented person, it is critical and important to make those moments, to be introspective, to actually figure out, what is going on for you and, how it's all going to work. Okay, my phone was beeping. Okay, that's nobody I need to answer. I have it on silent, of course, but every now and again, if somebody gets through, I'm like, let me make sure it's not an emergency. Okay, so the 3 tarot cards that I chose, one is the 4 of Swords, and this is about the past. And the 4 of Swords is all about worthiness. It's like, how worthy do we perceive ourselves to be? Do we put hurdles in our place? Do we think we're not good enough? Do we bog ourselves down with all the woulda, coulda, shouldas in our life instead of being focused on, I did the best I could with what I had. I'm moving in the direction to become the best possible version of me I can. And as long as those are the things that are going on, yes, you are worthy to manifest whatever you hope for, want, and dream for in your life. And even, hear me on this, even if you have screwed up and had major oopses in your life, you can get back on track. Doesn't mean you're not worthy. You are worthy just by the virtue of being a son or daughter of God, or being part of the source, being part of creation. You are innately worthy, no matter what you do, right? So Don't put obstacles in your way and these convoluted tests of, I have to do this, this, and this, and this before I can get this wonderful thing for me, or pay attention to me, or forgive myself, or love myself, or be unconditionally kind to myself. No, you are worthy. And it's so important to have that love and kindness and respect and forgiveness for yourself, because if you don't truly have it for yourself, you won't be able to share it with others. You won't be able to shine your light and share your love and your gifts if you don't think you're worthy. So that's a really important hurdle to overcome for us. And that's one that's definitely worth working on if you have that particular mindset. The next card is what's going on right now. And this is the Knight of Pentacles. And this Knight is upside down saying, you know what? A lot of us are out of balance right now. We are running around like chickens with our head cut off. Or what's the saying? Like, what is it? Driving Mach 5 with your hair on fire, right? It's just like, go, 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 go. And it's like, you're so busy, you can't even put out the fire. It's like, wait, stop. It's like, take care of the things you need to take care of. Get yourself back into balance. And I know how challenging it can be. Trust me on this one. I'm like, oh my God, like time goes flying by. The to-do list seem to get longer. The piles of stuff, you're piling up, and you're like, wait, how come I can't get caught up? And, there's so many people that, want your time and want your energy and want what gifts you have to share. And you want to share with everybody, right? That's how we are as humans. We love sharing with each other. And so when you feel that overwhelm of almost too much of a good thing because you're so busy, or if you're really busting your butt out there working and trying to make a better life for you and your family, and you don't have a lot of time for the joy and the playfulness and the rest, you have to kind of take a step back and say, wait, I need to get myself into balance. What do I need to do? Do I need to sleep more, eat better, get more exercise, be in nature, get a massage, make love with my partner? What do I need to do that's going to help me feel like, I have my energy refreshed, my batteries recharged, and I'm ready to take on whatever tomorrow may bring. Okay. And then the last card here is when you focus on balance, what it leads to is strength. And strength here is both the physical strength as well as the mental, spiritual, and emotional strength. Very, very often, we think of strength as just, strong. Yeah. What can you lift? What can you do? But having emotional strength and the resiliency to pretty much handle whatever comes your way and handle it with grace and kindness and the most loving way possible is a true blessing and something that really we should all work towards, right? And again, we're always going to have oopsies, and we're always going to be like, man, I could have done that a little better, or boy, I really screwed that one up. I got to really work on making it better next time. That's just part of who we are as human beings, right? So cultivating that sense of strength on all levels, and spiritual strength is one of those strengths. What are you doing to get yourself spiritually strong? Are you meditating? Are you taking a martial arts class? Are you walking in nature? Are you doing Tai Chi? Are you meditating and praying? Are you journaling? Are you doing dream work? Are you consciously trying to channel and communicate with spirit and get guidance? Are you working in small groups? Even are you going to drumming circles or things that kind of evoke a sense of ritual? Do you go to church or some sort of gathering of like-minded people that share the same beliefs to reinforce the rituals and recharge your batteries that way, right? I try not to get too wrapped up in specific, churches and different religions and stuff, because as far as I'm concerned, it's all, we are all finite minds trying to understand the infinite. And we may all have glimpses, but no one has the whole truth here, guys. It's impossible because the whole truth encompasses infinity and we are finite minds, right? So I just kind of look at it as, okay, you know what? Every different religion is like a different ladder leading up the side of the building to the same roof, And we'll all like, oh, hey, there you are. And, we'll meet each other up there, wherever that is one day, and be like, wow, wasn't that an interesting ride there on earth, when we were in spirit. So I try not to get too wrapped up with it. So if what floats your boat, is going to a temple and going to different rituals through that, and that restores your soul, or if you're more pagan minded and you need to go under the full moon and dance naked with your friends around the maypole, I don't care. Whatever makes you happy and fulfills your soul, that works for you. That makes you a better person, a happier person, a more joyful person. You should feel empowered to make those choices and do those things. Okay. And then finally, before we look at the chat, I cracked open my book, as I always do. And my book is called, my latest book. Actually, I should tell you about the other book, because this is an older book. The Creative Knot Now, that was written about 10 years ago. And these are like the life coaching secrets that I had back then. Oh, you want to laugh? I'm going to turn it around so you can see what I looked like 10 years ago. Oh my God. Yes, we age, right? But The Creative Knot Now, it's $5 on Amazon, and it tells you how to get balance in your life. Balance in finances, health, relationships, spirituality, and time in your life. So it's a really short read. It's, I think, what is it, 60 pages? It's short. It's no, it's not even that. It's 45 pages. It's a good bathroom book, right? You can get through it in a long session. But it'll teach you the things that are good. And then the more recent book, The Portal to Potential, this I published last year. And this book is meant to encourage and empower you to live your life to the fullest measure of your creation, and to help you discover your purpose and actualize that, your soul's purpose, and to suggest ways that you can have more joy in your life, more peace, more meaning, and love and prosperity, and all the things that you're looking for. And it was mostly 99% channeled. It was stuff that came through from spirit, and I was writing it down as fast as it came through to my consciousness. And this is on Amazon also, and it's $10. And all the proceeds from this book go to the Monroe Institute Scholarship Fund, is my way of paying it forward for all the great works that they've done for people over the years, and me specifically, how they've helped me when I had dark times in my life. And I went there and had amazing experiences. And the Monroe Institute, if you don't know, is in Faber, Virginia, in the Blue Ridge Mountains. And it's been this amazing spiritual retreat center that combines science, technology, to help you expand your consciousness. And it's been there for about more than 50 years now. And it's an amazing place. And I highly suggest going if you can. Okay. Anyway, so I cracked open the book, and the book went to, what if you shed all the preconceived notions of who you were, who you are, and who you will become, and allowed the wisdom of your expanded awareness to recraft, redesign, and rebuild the best possible version of yourself in the here and now. Perhaps you would fulfill your destiny and become the fullness of your creation by choice, by agency, by advocacy, and alignment. Claim your birthright as a child of God and a part of the source of all that is. Okay. So just let that resonate for a minute while I am going back through the chat to see what's in capital for people that have questions for me. So, oh, I see lots of my favorite people here. Hello, Nilda. Welcome back. Hello, Joey. We have a new person called My Vlog Sunny. Hello, My Vlog Sunny. Hi, Kathy. Nice to meet you. Hello, Neva. Okay, and we have Debbie, Amy. Okay, Jesse, wonderful. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for putting stuff in the chat, Judy. Wow. I'm old enough to remember Romper Room. I don't know how many y'all are, but if you remember Romper Room, the host would sit there in the beginning and hold up this magic mirror where she was able to see everybody, and she would be there and I see Tony, and I see Charlie, and I see Anne, and I see Mary. And I have a really weird name, y'all, Althea, right? So she never saw me, but this little bit reminded me of that. So, okay, questions. Let's see. And please remember to put your questions in caps in the chat so they do jump out at me, because there's lots of stuff going on. Okay, so I say, right. So, oh, hi, Kelly. And so I'm going to share the comment as I see them too. So Kelly is reminding us that, yep, everyone makes mistakes and we shouldn't be too hard on ourselves. Amen to that. Okay, so Kelly is asking, she's asking for a message at the moment. Okay, so what I'm hoping, Kelly, is that the messages that we got from Spirit rang true and hit you on some level, like, oh, yes, that's what I needed to hear, right? Because typically that's how it works. But I will ask very quickly of Spirit, specifically for you. But you know what the funny thing is? Even though it's specifically for you, it's going to ring true for some other people too. So what I'm feeling here is just that you're overdoing it, that you really need to take to heart some of what came through in the readings there of getting yourself back into balance and doing things that bring more joy into your life. Okay. Yeah, that's the first thing. But feel free, if there's like a specific question, or if you didn't get some insight or guidance from the messages that came from Spirit already, please feel free to put a more detailed question in caps in the chat and I will get to them. Okay, so let's see. So we have Joey telling us that he misses the ocean. Used to live in Southern California by the mountains. Okay, an hour from Long Beach. Well, once upon a time, I lived in Gardena, which is a little south of Los Angeles. And so I was pretty close to the beaches. I was there maybe a year and a half, and I think I got to the beach twice. And once was when company came to town. So I hear you there, but I love the sound of the ocean for sure. Okay, all right. And rivers and lakes are nice too, because they don't have quite as many scary big old fish in them. All right, let's see. We have people all chiming in about how much they love going to the beach and that how water gives them clarity and calms them. So that's kind of cool. Okay. Thank you. Nelda's given us some feedback from last week. She had asked last week if she was going to get documentation that she was needing in time. And the message from Spirit was, yep, it all seemed like green lights, and she's confirming she got what she needed. So thank you for giving us that feedback back. It's always nice to know we're hearing it correctly from Spirit. So thanks for that. And have a great trip to Florida, Miss Nilda. That should be awesome for you. Okay. Oh, and thank you, Kelly, that telling me that I still look okay, even though I'm 10 years older. It's kind of funny, on the inside, y'all, I feel like I'm still 35, like at the prime. Once in a while, I'm not quite as fast at remembering something as I used to be, like what that word was I'm looking for, that kind of stuff, just once in a while. But my body, especially my knees from where I got hit by the car, they remind me every day that, oh yeah, no, you're not 35 anymore, woman. Get a grip. But I will tell you, I took an herbal healing class on last Saturday, and I have to go back and go through my notes, because there's all kinds of really cool thing that this 72-year-old herbalist shared with us. And she's like the real deal, and such hot stuff that she actually taught the Amish community stuff about plants. So you got to know she knows her stuff, right? Anyway, so one of the things she mentioned was there's something to take that actually turns gray hair back to whatever your natural color is and keeps it that way. And I'm like, I got to get that herb. I got to find that up again. So I'll share next week with y'all. I'll write up my notes and I'll go through some of the key points, because there was some really cool stuff in there. So even one thing I do remember off the top of my head was the healing powers of turmeric oil for clearing up anything. Like if you massage turmeric oil into your neck, Now, mind you, the stuff stinks, so don't do it before you go on a date or something. But anyway, it's up on your neck. It helps to increase the blood flow and the healing to your hearing, your ears, and the functioning of the brain. And some people, it's even helped to clear up like amyloid plaque and reverse some of the signs of Alzheimer's in people that just started using this simple old wives' tale cure of turmeric oil. So anyway, that was one of the things that came up that I remembered off the top of my head. But anyway, I will definitely write the notes, and I will definitely start taking whatever that stuff is for the gray, because I'm doing okay, but this is a little bit of help from a box, to be honest with you. But I'm not as gray as some of my other friends are. When I do go gray, it's just a little bit around the front, but still, we all like to look good, right, ladies? Men, we like to look a little younger. Because it matches more how we feel inside. I don't feel like I'm a senior citizen. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm a big kid at heart. I love to play. I love to laugh. I think spiritual energy keeps us, younger in a lot of ways. And I just feel like, there's still so much of life to live and purpose to fulfill and things to be done. So I don't feel my age. So I don't want to look at as much either. Okay. So let's see. Questions. All right. So we have some people asking a little bit about Monroe and about channeling. So I'm going to talk a teeny tiny bit about channeling, because I think it's important to demystify it. A lot of people think of channeling as this like really woo-woo thing that takes a very special training and a very special ability. And certain kinds of channeling do require some training and education and working to develop those skills. But channeling is something that's available to all of us, and we do it all the time. We channel ideas, we channel creativity. When we pray for somebody, we're channeling healing energy and directing it to them. And what I have learned from Spirit is once you have a channel that's open, however you opened it, whether you did it as an artist who was painting, even if your paintings were just what is his name? Bob Ross, here's the tree, do those. Even if it's something that simple, you have created a connection. A channel is open for creativity and Spirit's ability to come through, to flow through you and into your artwork. If you're somebody who loves to sing or make music or play music or write music or compose, that is an open channel. If you are a scientist or an engineer or somebody who has to come up with ideas regarding science, or an inventor who comes up with patents, or a businessman who comes up with the best next deal for projects and partnerships and ways to go out into the world and marketing campaigns and all that, you're opening up lines of creativity and channels. You are channeling. You may not think of it as channeling. You're thinking of it as intuition. It's your gut. It's your learning. It's the idea just popped in, but you're channeling. So when you are writing down your dreams and remembering what you dreamed, that's a form of channeling. When you look at somebody and you get a feeling of, oh, I think they're having a tough day, or you think of somebody and say, hey, I should call that my sister. I can't shake the feeling like, she needs something. That's channeling, right? That's channeling part of your intuition and spirit. So the channeling that creates books like this one was a little bit more structured, because I opened up with the intention to get information to share. And at first it came through as like inspired writings, and they were just individual little things. And then as I started to share those writings, because I would read them afterwards, because one of the things with that kind of channeling is I'm not thinking about constructing the words and writing it myself and putting the ideas down myself. I literally am taking dictation. That's what it feels like. I'm hearing the words from Spirit from some place outside of me, which is also part of me, but I hear it and I'm just writing it down as fast as I possibly can. And then later when I go back and read it, it's like, wow, oh, this is cool. This is neat. And it's from them. It's through me, but it's from spirit. So I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Right. So then I would share it with somebody and they'd be like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. Can I have a copy? Yep. And then it was like, hey, this is really cool. You should share this with more people. And so after hearing that for several months and then even years, I finally said, you know what? I'm going to take all of these together. I'm going to ask spirit, how should I put them together? And what additional information should I add to them? And that's how the book was formed. And I just, again, as soon as I would sit down, I would work for a couple hours. And as soon as it stopped, as soon as it, like, I felt like, okay, that's enough for the day. Okay, that was it. So it's not like trying to craft a novel where you're following a certain kind of plot, where they tell you, how, there's a certain structure to mysteries and there's a certain structure to romance novels and there's a certain structure to hero's journey type stuff. So it's not that when you're channeling, but when you're open to any one of those fields, and like I explained, and you have an open channel, in a way, it's like being a radio station, right? You may have just tuned into one channel, but because you have that one channel, you have access back to the radio station and you can tune in whatever channel you want or need. Hey, I need the healing channel. Hey, I want the psychic channel. Hey, I need the medium channel. I would really love to talk to my loved one in spirit who's passed. Hey, I need the artist channel. I need the writer channel. I need the teacher channel, the wisdom channel, whatever you need, the relationship channel. And then see what comes through, hear what comes through, feel what comes through, pay attention. Sometimes it's just that simple to put the intention out there and then notice what you notice in response. And I'm one of these people that say, write stuff down so that you don't lose it, right? Because sometimes when you're in this flow, it's almost like if you've ever heard a new song by an artist you like, and you're just like, wow, this is so cool. And then afterwards, you try to remember the words. You might remember a few of them, and you definitely remember how it made you feel. But if you wanted to really, sit down and re-enter that space, you'd be like, dang, I wish I had written it down more. Obviously with songs, we can Google these days and find them. But the information that comes from spirit, you want to try to capture in whatever way is easiest and best for you. Not only so that you can get it all, but you can remember it, but you can also re-access that energy time and time again in the future whenever you or somebody else you love or care about needs it. Okay, so that's about channeling. Okay, so we have here, Nilda is asking a question. So she says she's experienced some back pain. Is this going to stop me from enjoying my trip? We're supposed to go dancing while I'm there. Oh, girlfriend, no. You will be fine. I will tell you, the flight may exacerbate the back pain a little bit, but once you get here, I would say, do some good stretching, pop a few Advil if you need to, something that'll help it. But no, your whole energy is just going to light up and you're just going to have a blast. I just feel so much joyfulness and fun and play. It feels like this whole trip for you is a blessing that you've kind of earned by having your positive spirit and dealing with the challenges that you have. This was kind of like the cookie that spirit's given you, like, here's a cookie. You were such a good girl. Here's a cookie, right? But it's in a much bigger, better, wonderful way and with great friends. And no, you're going to have a blast. Just take it easy. Just understand that flight is going to exacerbate things a little bit. So that very first day you're there, or when you arrive, you're going to want to do things, like I said, to stretch and to address it, to rest. Maybe be proactive and book a massage, to be waiting for you, so to speak. So whatever day you're arriving, that afternoon or night, have a massage booked to the very next morning, and that'll help to kind of loosen things up so you can go dancing, go swimming, go touring, go have fun, and definitely enjoy your time. Okay. So we have my vlog, Sunny 11. So welcome to you, my vlog. So the question is being asked is, Althea, what is in my future? So my answer back is, what do you want to be in your future? Because we have free will and free choice. I shared this before on other episodes, but it is worth repeating that one of the things that I don't fortune tell and try to read somebody's future per se too far out, other than reading their energy and what's kind of going on and what's the patterns that are currently in place and where you're going, because we do have free will and free choice. So if I said to you, okay, your future looks like this and this and this and this, and you're like, oh, I don't want that. You have the ability to go, I'm making this right turn. I'm going here instead. And you can change your path. Or you can say, oh, I really like that potential future that I'm seeing from the energy. And I'm going to try to get there even faster and work even harder to manifest that and get there because I like what that is. Right. So I just wanted to give that caveat. I will tune in and ask Spirit what Spirit wants to share. And I think that first reaction of what do you want it to be? That's really an important question. And that wasn't like flippant or tongue in cheek. It's like, truly, what do you want? You know, what are you manifesting? Where are you putting your thoughts? Where are you putting your energy? What are you trying to create in your life? Are you trying to attract a better relationship or heal an existing one? Are you trying to attract a better job or say, I don't even want a job. I want to be self-employed, or I want to own a business. I want to be somebody who has passive income flowing in so I can spend my time being of service and sharing my gifts and exploring the consciousness realms even more. I don't know what floats your boat, right? These are all very personal decisions people have to make of what is the right thing for them in this moment, right? And even a bad relationship and a painful work situation or struggles financially, these things can lead us to a resiliency and digging deep within ourselves and really confronting, what am I doing, right? Because so many of us sleepwalk through our life, right, guys? You know, we get up, we go, you know, we do our morning routine, maybe we have breakfast, we commute to work, we work all day, maybe we run some errands on the way home, we do some chores when we're home, we do chores on the weekend. You know, the days and weeks go flying by, and very rarely do people stop and say, why am I doing what I'm doing? Wait, I always wanted to be an architect. How did I wind up working in this plumbing company? Or I always wanted to open a restaurant. How did I get stuck here doing office work? Or, geez, I always wanted to be a teacher. They don't pay really well, but I love teaching kids. What can I do to manifest some passive income that'll pay the rest of my bills so I can teach and share and be with the children that my heart has wanted me to be with, right? Or how can I go back to school and get a different degree? You would be surprised how many adult ed programs there are for free, how many colleges have deeply discounted programs for people that are already in the workforce that want to come back and try something new, right? So there's really no excuse for not going after what really makes you happy, right? So change can happen instantly or never, and everything in between. It's really up to you and what you want and what you're content with. And I would say, if you are living your true self life, that you feel good about yourself, you're loving, you're kind, you're happy, you're joyful, you're forgiving, you are doing things that bring you joy and peace, you are positively impacting the lives of others, you're creating a legacy of love and positivity in the world, yay, you go for it. There's nothing you got to change. You got it down. If any of those things fall short and you're like, yeah, I could probably do a little better on that. And by the way, most of us probably fall short and could probably do a little bit better on that, me included. what do we need to focus on? What do we need to change, right? What brings us more joy? What brings us more health? What leads us each day one step closer to the direction that we want to manifest in our life, to becoming the best possible version of ourselves that we can become? What do we need to do? And yep, there'll be backslides. Yep, there'll be oopses. But as long as we very quickly get back on track and keep that, eye on the prize, so to speak, and keep our focus, we will make progress. We will get there. We will become a better and better and better version of ourselves. And we will feel good about ourselves, our lives, and our ability to share and positively impact the lives of others. And I can't think of anything that is a more meaningful purpose than to actively enjoy this life that we've created and be able to help others enjoy theirs as well. Okay. And so my vlog Sunny 11, if you have a more specific question about something about, your energy or where things are going within a specific context, I'll tune in energetically to say, well, this is where you're going now, with the caveat that you have free will and free choice to say, yep, love it, want it, or nope, not really happy with that outcome. I'm going to make some changes. Okay. Fair deal. Good. All righty. So next question. Okay. And we got a little bit of feedback from Kelly saying, thank you. Yes. Some of them did answer her question. And now we have a question from Kelly. And Kelly is asking, Terry. Terry is asking, any advice for my next steps? Feeling in a bit of a funk. Well, what I can say, Terry, is right now, there's some weird stuff happening in the cosmos. And for a lot of light workers and a lot of people that are trying to really get on that path and get on that track of spiritual development and actualizing their soul purpose, they're feeling like this pressure and funk and heaviness and like there's challenges at every turn. And we're like, what is going on here? And it's almost like, it's kind of like that. Okay, are you serious about getting better? We're gonna test you and see, are you really serious? It's almost like it's not as evil as, you tell somebody you're on a diet and you're really working hard to lose weight, and they hand, they're there with that plate of home baked cookies or dark chocolate or whatever, ice cream or whatever your go-to, comfort food might be. And they're going to go, are you sure you're on that diet? Wouldn't you like some of this? Right. And so it's like the universe in some ways is like, oh, you're trying to become the best possible version of you. Are you sure? Are you serious? And then they throw up all these roadblocks and challenges and stuff to make us go back and clear out any of the old stuff that we hadn't quite looked at. And so sometimes that funk and the challenges and the heaviness can actually help clear us out even more to be ready for the gifts and blessings and the future that's coming. So my advice for your next step, Terry, is similar to what I was feeling for us as a group, is we need to just be as playful and joyful and kind to ourselves, be introspective, get yourself in balance, and do the things that help you feel good from a healthy point of view, from a spiritual point of view, strong from all those, remember back to that chakra, right? All of the things that help make you feel strong physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, any activity that helps you feel stronger and more balanced, brings you a sense of playfulness and joyfulness and peace. Those are the things to pursue and do, especially in the near term. For me, getting a massage is one of the best things on the planet. When I'm feeling yucky, I go for a massage and I'm like, oh, okay, having a body's not so bad, right? And it just kind of like, oh, just being able to receive somebody else's energy and skill and love and attention, pampering me in that massage is a way that's like, oh, wow, that feels so much better. It's the pain stops for that hour, right? The relaxation sets in. 9 times out of 10, I start to fall asleep because I'm finally that relaxed, and it's wonderful. So that's something I know is good for me. Playing with my dog and snuggling and cuddling with my dog, that's something that restores my soul. And, being around friends and doing fun things with people I love, playing games. And this actually restores me, y'all. This helps me a lot. I love to share. It is my soul's purpose to help bring information through and share it. And so being able to fulfill my soul's purpose by having this podcast and being here each week, sharing with you and interacting with you and getting to know y'all, you're helping me feel even better about my life and purpose because you're letting me fulfill it here. So doing those kind of things in your life, whenever you feel in a funk, y'all, you pamper yourself, you make choices that will help you feel strong and balanced, receiving as much of the blessings as you can, and just kind of taking that moment to go, rest, recharge, and then go, try again. All right. Next question here is from Kelly. And what happened here? Let's see. Nope. Where'd it go? I lost it. You know what happened here? I clicked and it went all the way to the bottom. Here we go. So we have Kelly says, I had a car accident and I'm wondering if you can see the outcome of getting the car fixed. Okay. I actually get a bit of a red flag from Spirit for you, Kelly, on that. I would make sure that you are working with your insurance and like the most reputable repair shop you can, to make sure that it's truly fixable in a way that you're not going to have like the problem of the month club in the future. And also, talk to your insurance about, would it make more sense to consider it a total loss and get something new that doesn't have the damage and the what's the word? The trauma to the whole system, right? Because even if let's say your fender got all messed up, and the front panel got all messed up, and okay, you can do that body work and it'll look good, okay. But what actually happened to the engine at the same time of all that? What got shook shaken? Oh boy. Sorry, Sister Mary, whoever from my English class back in school. I don't remember the right word. Anyway, as a result of that accident, what other things got a little messed up that will come back to haunt you? So I just get a red flag there. So I would just be cautious and look into it a little bit more. Make sure you feel really good about the decisions you're making, the insurance is making, and the repair people are making. Okay. And oh my goodness. Okay. And apparently you also have to see a spinal surgery. Can you see this happening as I need it? Yeah. So I'm assuming that's as a result of the accident, that there's something going on with your spine. So I would, you know what? I wouldn't hesitate getting things checked out. It's like the sooner the better for some things, because if there was a disc that got banged out of place, or if there's something that's damaged, if you can repair and reverse the damage sooner than later, you'll avoid getting things like arthritis or other conditions popping in. So I would again work with your insurance and your medical practitioners and whatever system you're using. But I would be, I'm feeling Spirit say, deal with things sooner than later. To look into things, at least both from a peace of mind point of view and also from the point of the sooner you address an issue, the less likely it will become a bigger issue. Okay. All right. And we have Kelly echoing that she's also a big kid at heart. Amen to that. Okay. And let's see. Okay. And then Kelly's asking a little bit more about dating. She says, would love to go on a date, but don't think there's anyone out there for me, but I won't be using turmeric. Yep. Definitely not before a date. But you know what? Let me put a little question out back to you, Kelly, and to anybody else. So when you said you'd love to go on a date, but you don't think there's anyone out there for me, do you realize that when you make that statement, you put it in writing, you said it out loud? I just said it out loud. You're thinking those thoughts. That's part of a reality that you are buying into and co-creating. So what if instead of believing and saying to yourself and saying to me and others, you know, I don't think there's anyone out there for me. What if you knew there is somebody out there for you? The perfect partner is out there for you. And the changes and improvements you're making in your life are attracting that person to you even more quickly than before, right? So instead of having a hopelessness or giving up hope that there's somebody for you, or saying, oh, I know there's nobody out there for me. Well, you know, Spirit's like, well, okay, if that's what you know and that's what you want to create, sure, we can do that. But that's not what you want, right? You said you'd love to go on a date. So why not change your affirmation from there's no one out there for me to, oh yeah, the world is my onion. I can just peel it back and there's opportunities everywhere I look, right? Or the best person for me is working their way to me and I will recognize them when I see them, right? So just be careful, because words, how we think and what we say out loud are so powerful in creating an energy around us. And that energy is then responded to by others, right? So if you kind of have this bubble of there's nobody out there for me, even if your ideal mate is standing right next to you, that bubble is going to be like this force field that they're not even going to notice you. They won't even, they'll be like, yep. But if instead you're like, I am open to attracting, and I know that person is coming to me, when they're standing right next to you, you'll make eye contact and they'll go like, oh, there you are, right? So just be aware. I know it sounds like, can it really be that easy? But we sabotage ourselves sometimes by our thoughts that we believe in. And it's something I'll dedicate a whole episode to that sometime in the near future, because thoughts are so important. Our words are so important. And believing, what are our belief systems? Man, you know, I know people for the longest time was like, they believed they weren't worthy of being successful, so they were never successful. I knew somebody who believed that when he got to a certain level of success, no matter what else happened in his life, something would happen to derail him, cut him down at his knees, and he would fall back to square one. And if you looked at his life, that happened over and over and over. And I was like, would you stop believing that? That's not a good thing to believe. Let's create and choose a different pattern, shall we? Right? So anyway, but you know, I'm a life coach. I work with people on that kind of stuff. All right. So let's see. Any other questions? Thank you, Joey. Trance channeling. Yeah, trance channeling is a little bit where you're not as conscious. The kind of channeling that I was talking about. Oh, let me get this comment off. The kind of channeling I was talking about is more of a conscious, I'm paying attention. Trance channeling is where part of the consciousness kind of checks out and stuff just kind of comes through without you noticing what's there until after. Oh my God, it's 7:00 already, y'all. Holy mackerel. Okay, well, let me just make sure there's no other very, very, very pressing question. Okay. Okay, I think we're good, guys. Well, thank you all so much for joining me this week. You know the homework, y'all. If you're a regular to the show, what are we going to do? We are going to shine our light. We're going to share our love. We're going to share our gifts in order to bless the lives of others. We're going to be kind. We're going to have a positive impact on everybody we can out there. And we're going to try to become the best version of ourselves, manifesting that ideal life, fulfilling our soul's purpose, and creating a legacy of peace and joy, beauty and kindness, love above all else along the way. I hope you all have a fantastic week and that you'll come back next week. This is Althea, and you've been listening to Spiritual Street Talk with Althea Jacob. If you need me, just look there on the banner, has all my contact information. Love to hear from you. Once again, please do all the social media fun things, ring the bells, like the likes, do all that kind of stuff. And we'll catch you again next week. Love y'all. God bless. Take care. And I will figure this out yet. Okay. All right.
Coming to a YouTube channel near you.